brief meditation. I'm sure you're familiar with Paul's words in Romans 1 verse 16, often quoted, "I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for salvation." Less known, but quite similar in the words used, is something Paul writes in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 18. Let's look at this for a moment. "For the word of the cross is folly to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God." And so we have folly instead of ashamed, we have the power of God, and instead of salvation, we have being saved. Strongly suggests that the word of the cross and the gospel are near synonyms. They're very similar, closely related. In fact, when we go one verse back in 1 Corinthians, we find this confirmed. Paul writes, "For Christ did not send me to baptize, but to preach the gospel, and not with words of eloquent wisdom, lest the cross of Christ be emptied of its power." Again, we have this close link between the gospel and the cross of Christ, and with the power of God. This means, I think, the fact that the gospel is the word of the cross, that we cannot speak of the gospel, we cannot proclaim the gospel without speaking of the cross, and by implication of the atonement. And therefore we have to think hard about the cross and the atonement, which is why I hope to see you on the 16th of February next year.